Good afternoon. Hello. My name is Martin Cowart, and welcome to Noonday Meditation and Contemplative Prayer Power Hour, where we gather together every day, Monday through Saturday at noon, to love and support each other through this pandemic. And I'm so grateful that you're here, and I'm grateful that I'm here. And we're going to talk about falling in love with the know-it-all. Hello, Mindy. How are you? Happy Friday. Do you have any know-it-alls in your life? I think we all have know-it-alls in our life. I think that the world is full of know-it-alls, especially on TV and social media. And the conversation today is about falling in love with the know-it-all. I grew up, my father was a notorious know-it-all. I mean, it wasn't just me, my family that saw him as a know-it-all. But everybody that knew him thought he was a know-it-all. He could tell me how to breathe, wash my hands. I'd be outside washing the car, and he'd come outside and say, "You're not doing it right. You got to wash the car this way." And not only was his way the right way, but it was really the only way to do it. You know, they're irritating, aren't they? I know they are. And you know why they're irritating? And today, and particularly today, living in all these closer quarters with our loved ones, which may be ourselves. We may be living in close quarters with ourselves, and our ego thinking mind barking at us all the time about what we should and shouldn't do. Hey, Michael, how are you doing today? We're talking about falling in love with a know-it-all. Do you know any know-it-alls in the world? I don't think we can escape them, because that's just everywhere we go. There's know-it-alls. And I think the best way is to not fight the know-it-alls, but to fall in love with them. And I want to talk about why that's possible and why that's such a valuable thing to do, why powerful that could be. You know, I mean, the other day I was washing my hands, and my husband came in and told me I wasn't washing my hands the right way or something like that. And I was just like, what? Jesus. And what we realized, what I began to and I go bizarre, you know. How dare you tell me how to wash my hands or do anything, you know? But we all have a know-it-all. And once we begin to see the know-it-all in others and begin to accept the know-it-all in other people, then we can begin to see the know-it-all in ourselves. That's a hard thing to do, I got to tell you, to realize I'm the biggest know-it-all on the planet. I can be. But the reality is that is the nature of the ego. The ego is that part of us that needs to fit in, that needs to belong, that needs to be right, that needs to show you the way, that needs to rescue you. Rescue the world. We need to save the world. And it's very tricky sometimes for me as a coach. It's a thin line I sit on sometimes as a coach and an advisor to people, to not move over to the know. Because you know the truth of the matter is, that's when I get myself into. And the beauty is, once you learn to be a coach, I've learned that when I'm thinking I know it, to let go. Because the truth is, I don't know. And what we do is we begin to ask more questions so that we do know. Because what we're doing, we're trying to help the person we're coaching understand the truth. I might think I know, but unless I ask questions, make more inquiry, the truth is I don't know. And that's a beautiful thing. Because the more we get to know the know-it-all in ourselves, the freer we are from it. It's a level of awareness, painful level of, because what we really want to do, and what's behind that, what's the shit. I always look at when there's a behavior that's coming up that's uncomfortable, that I don't like in somebody else. It's always because it's a part of me that I don't like. Take, for example, if some of the behavior of Trump, let's say his lying, let's say he's a notorious, I'm not a notorious liar, but I have lied. And the beauty of that, the beauty of seeing that mirror, is that I don't like the liar in me. So it wakes me up that I can be a liar too, and I'll stop lying. Because I realize that lying is simply a way to avoid the truth. And that doesn't help. It doesn't solve any problems. And I'm here to add value, not to create more problems. But I need to be able to see that. I need to see the shadow behavior in other people so that I can see the truth in myself. I can own that part of me and take responsibility for how the world is the way the world is. Because I helped create it out of my shadow, out of my ego. So what is the light of the shadow? What's behind the behavior? Love. It's always love. So if we're able to look at the shadow, we can find our truth. That's why it's so important for us to learn to fall in love with the I don't knows in the world. Because the I don't knows in the world, including our own, is really shining the light of love by a shadow. So then you ask yourself, once we become aware of the fact that it's a shadow behavior and that the root of that light that's casting the shadow is love, then we can shift our behavior, our question. Because what that's telling me when my husband comes in and tells me how to wash my hands is that he loves me. And he's feeling unloved or something going on. So you know what I can say instead of getting irritated, which is what I do typically, I can just say thank you. I can just, without any sarcasm, just say thank you. Like Meister Eckhart said, if you only have one prayer in your life, let it be thank you. So next time someone's telling you how to do something, like wash your hair, put on your shoes, whatever, whenever you notice someone's know-it-all, they're triggering your know-it-all, know it's coming from love, and just say thank you. See what happens. I don't know. But I have discovered that this whole concept of getting to know our shadows, getting intimate with our egos, getting intimate with the know-it-all within ourselves, we'll discover a bigger truth that's pretty beautiful. So let me read a little bit today from something where this came from. A friend of mine, well, he's been on here before. His name is Daniel Stern, and he's been on here before. I meet him some mornings. We do a meditation practice in the morning together. And this is something he shared the other day. It's called Disarming the Know-It-All. And I liked it. That's what gave me the inspiration to do this piece. I don't remember. I wrote this today, but I read this a week ago. So let me see if they match up. I'm sure there's some truth in it somewhere. It's always something pointing us to the truth, right? This is called Disarming the Know-It-All. People that are know-it-alls are simply stuck in a pattern and may actually have feelings of low self-worth. I know that's true for me. I want to feel worthy. I want to feel loved. I want to feel like I have something to contribute. So I'm going to tell you how to do something, because I know the best way to do it. Most of us have encountered a person in our lives who can accurately be referred to as a know-it-all. This person seems to know everything about anything that gets brought up and tends to dominate the conversation. They don't take well to being questioned, and they have a hard time ever admitting when they are wrong. Being around a know-it-all is inevitably tiring because there is no shared energy between the two of you. Rather, you become an audience member to this person's need to be the center of attention. Attention and respect are probably the two things the person most longs for, and at some point in their lives, they learn that knowing it all was the way to get those needs met. Over time, they have become stuck in this pattern. Regardless of the fact that it's no longer working, they may feel afraid of the experience of listening, being receptive, or learning something new because it's so unfamiliar. On one hand, when we see the childlike need underneath the know-it-all mask of confidence, we feel compassion for the person. And we may tolerate their one-sided approach to conversation out of a desire not to hurt their feelings. On the other hand, we may be feeling drained and tempted to avoid the person altogether. In the middle of these two possible ways of feeling, we may actually like this person and wish for a closer relationship. We come from a place of kindness. If we come from a place of kindness, we might attempt to bridge the gap that the person's habitual way of relating creates. Simply by expressing a desire to be closer may open their heart and give you a chance to ask for what you need in the relationship, a chance to contribute. Something to think about. Hello, Jody. Nice to have you here today. Thank you for joining us. We are talking about falling in love with the know-it-all. And I'm not sure when you jumped in here with us, but we all know know-it-alls, but the most important know-it-all is ourselves. And when we get to know the know-it-all in ourselves, the shadow of ourselves, the shadow of the light, we'll discover, if we're willing to get intimate with that part, accept it, love it, and accept it as a shadow part of our light, the light of love, everything will shift. The whole universe expands. And I think right now, when we're living in COVID-19 and we're living in such close quarters with ourselves and other people sometimes, loved ones, perhaps out of fear, our know-it-all might even get elevated. It might get amplified. So that's one reason why I'm having this conversation today, is I'm thinking, well, if any of you are feeling a little agitated, hello, Darcille, how are you doing? If any of you are feeling agitated or triggered by the know-it-alls in the world, either internally or externally, what might you do about it? How can you get to know that person, that part of you, more intimately? Well, I would suggest asking questions. I would know it. You don't say, I know what you need. I know you need something. That's not, that just makes, then you become a know-it-all. Instead, find out what they need by asking some questions. Or just show some interest in them. They're just trying to get attention. The know-it-all in me is just trying to get my attention. So give it some attention. Give it some love. And see what happens. Interesting idea. Interesting read. Came off the Daily Home, I believe. Yeah. Good stuff there. So you want to do a little meditation? Anybody got any comments? I always like it when people put a few comments on the subject before we meditate into the chat box. Let me know what you'd like to. What are you learning from this? What would be the value to you to get to the point where you can fall in love with get intimate with your own know-it-all. You know, we all got one, and the closer we get to it, the more we love it, the more we accept it, the more wholehearted we become. We become more whole. We heal ourselves, and we become more people. Let me see who. Mindy wants to know who the author was of that piece. Let me see here. It's on Daily and it was written by Madison Taylor. I'm familiar with her. It's on the Daily and it was written by Madison Taylor. Good piece. You know, I just like to take it and turn it around and say, when it's other people. Mary Jo will think on this as an authentic coward. Yes, cowards are notorious know-it-alls, aren't we? We are notorious know-it-alls. It's my cousin Mary Jo Coward. And you're welcome. You're welcome, Mindy. Thank you for asking. Yes, we are, which means that cowards have pretty strong egos, but we get ourselves in a lot of trouble with that ego. And I have learned that the more I surrender that ego to a higher power, if you will, the more exciting my life has become. Because the truth is, I don't know anything. This is the truth. We human beings do not know anything really, except that we're alive and that we're here and we're in the present moment. That's really the only thing we know, is that this present moment. And the more we get to know the now, as Eckhart Tolle calls it, the more we get to know the presence of now, the more we get to know ourselves. And the more I get to know that part of me, the better coach I am, because now I'm a better listener. And if I'm listening better, and then I can come from that deeper truth within me and help guide my clients to that better truth within them. Because remember, that's what coaches do. They're struggling with getting to that truth. I don't know their way to the truth. They know the way to the truth. So I have to ask them enough questions so they can find their way. That's what we do, because we guide people. Because I don't know how to tell anybody how to do anything. And I had to come to this realization so that I could be a really good and effective coach and guide for people. And I get a lot of joy out of that, because it's fun to see people. It's exciting to see people make these breakthroughs and realize the truth of who and what they are. You know? But it's not me doing it. It's not my ego doing it. That's what I'm talking about. The ego is the know-it-all. The heart is a place of unknowing. Classic mystical book, The Cloud of Unknowing. It's a sweet love of unknowing. It's when we transcend. We're in the transcendent mind. The cloud of unknowing is transcending the binary egoic mind into oneness. Eckhart Tolle was saying something on a Q&A the other night I was listening to about human beings as being individual humans connected to one being. That's what we are. We're individual bodies with our personalities, with our sexual orientation, our hair color, our personality types, our humanness, our individual humanness. But we're all one being. And that's what love is. Because when we realize we're all one, whenever we want to attack someone or do something to hurt someone, we're hurting. We want to hurt ourselves. That's why Jesus was such a revolutionary teacher of nonviolent resistance against the empire. It's all about the violence we commit on ourselves, literally and figuratively. If I'm attacking, if I'm withholding love and attacking my know it all, I'm just attacking myself or your know it all. Because we're all one. We're all one being. We're different humans, one being. Let's go tap into that beingness, that one source of being right now. Bring on the freedom. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Jesus said the truth will set you free. Let's get free. Let's get free. Timer is such. Turn off the phone so I don't get a phone call in the middle of everything here. Allow the bell to take you a little deeper. Before we do, raise your hands in the air and just hold them there. Be still, but become conscious of become aware of the life energy that just raised your hands. That's what we're connecting to. It's so close. It's what we are. Just feel that energy in your hands. How do you know you're alive? Because you can feel it. You can feel alive. That's you. And that same aliveness in you is in me and everybody on this call and everybody on the planet. Let go of the idea of it and feel it. Just feel it. Feel it in your fingers, feel it in your toes. Put your hands on your heart. Just focus on your breath for a few moments. Come do a little mindful breathing. And as you do, you might notice thoughts coming across your brain, coming across your radar screen like clouds, thoughts, opinions, judgments, ideas. Let them all go, just for the moment. Be grateful for all the hard work that your mind is doing constantly, below the surface and above the surface, most of it below the surface. Just the fact that it's pumping your heart with blood and oxygen. Put your hands on your heart, a place of gratitude for the job it's doing without you even having to ask it. And that's the truth of everything. The divine is working within us all without us even having to ask. Allow the sound of the bell to wake you up from your trance and reset and follow the vibration deeper inside. Allow the vibration of the bell to take you deeper within yourself, bringing you into stillness. Okay, welcome back from your little journey inside. Are you awake? Anything you ever want to say into the chat box, please type it. Jody, if you're still here, I'd love to hear what you. I think this is the first time I've seen your name here today. If you got something you'd like to say, I'd love to hear what your experience was like today here with us. We sit in the stillness. It's okay. There's my good friend from, where are you from again? I think you're from Bangladesh. I believe that's true. Bangladesh. Is that correct? Sarah Binton. Good morning. Nice to see you. It's been a while. So lovely that you're here on the other side of the world. How are you and your family through this pandemic? Again, my encouragement for you is, if you want to get the full benefit of this power hour, is to take out your journal and write your story. What was your experience like today? What is your relationship with the know-it-all? How are you in know-it-all? What's behind the know-it-all? Write a little bit and allow yourself to get, I'm well and I am good, and my is good, I am good. Yes. Nice to see you. Nice to see you too, my friend. Nice to see you too. A pleasure, a joy. So allow this as an opportunity to get clear. Mary Jo Cowart, as you think of your authentic self, you might want to get your journal out and write a little bit about what is the authentic Cowart know-it-all about. Then more importantly, how does it show up? But more importantly, what's the light behind it? What's really behind the know-it-all behavior? The instinct. Spend a little time exploring, but I find that when we write things out in hand, in a journal, something shifts, something transforms. So if you wanted to sort of take what we do here at noon and expand it so that it becomes more than just an intellectual exercise, it can become experiential and transformative. My encouragement is to write in the journal, and not just now, but in the morning. And I want to give you one other thing that I'm putting together a wonderful webinar, recorded webinar video. It's called Practicing the Art of Being Present, and I'll be glad to share it with all of you once it's completed. But one of the recommendations that and the thing about creating a webinar in this space particularly, is that I need to walk the talk, and the more I create the webinar and the more I practice it, the more real it becomes. That's beautiful. So one of the recommendations that I suggest every morning is what we do in the first 7 minutes of every day can impact the entire day. And I don't know about you, but I wake up in the morning, my ego, my know-it-all, it's got the keys to the car and it is ready to drive out the driveway. It is ready to take off with my life. And that's not necessarily the part of me that I want to have the keys to my day. So what I do, and what I recommend most people do, and I found it makes such a difference, is allow myself to wake up with the world. So I grab a cup of coffee, because I love coffee. I'm a big coffee lover. If you like tea, get tea, whatever you happen to like. But get something you really enjoy. Maybe just a glass of water, doesn't matter. And then go sit somewhere and just gaze at the world waking up with you. And if your mind's saying you should be doing something else, ask it to say, let it go. And just be still without having to do anything. Just be present to all that's going on within you as you transform from sleep to awake. And I believe you're going to be amazed at what you're going to discover in yourself. For me, I spoke earlier about the ego dying. I usually wake up with this sort of yicky, sick feeling inside me. And I've learned to sort of sit in that feeling. And as I do, it begins to open up to something bigger. I don't know how to explain it better than that. But that's the two things that I would recommend to you if you want to begin to really embrace this life of the contemplative. If you really want to step into your power on a daily basis. One, get up a little earlier and treat yourself with love first thing in the morning. Do something, just be in love with life. And then write. Do a little journaling. You meditate with me at noon. That's good. Maybe meditate a little bit in the morning. I do. I find the less I do and the more I be, and the more practice I am at being, the better I am at being. The more powerful I am. So I don't mean powerful in a way to get my way. I mean a powerful in a way to get out of my way. And life is so much more, it's so exciting when you begin to live the life of a contemplative. And I use the word contemplative instead of meditation because contemplative to me has a sound of action. Meditation often, the way it's been sort of marketed in America, for example, it's almost like a form of escape. And contemplative prayer is not an escape. It is a plugging in. It is a plugging in and to get power to take action in the world. It's plugging into the doer within us. And that's why I like the word contemplation. We contemplate the truth of who we are, our true nature, from a deeper place within ourselves, in order to allow that the life force in us to do the doing without resistance. And that's exciting. That is an exciting way to live. Don't take my word for it, try it. Anyway, it's Friday afternoon, kind of a cloudy day here in northern New Jersey, but it's a nice day. And I've got to make a couple of videos this afternoon. I get to make a couple of videos this afternoon. And I'm excited about that. So, if nothing else, oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, it does feel a little vulnerable sometimes, quite frankly. Just put out your truth, put out what you're feeling, put out what you're seeing. Come on. Plugging into the doer. Yeah, that's it. That's it, because the ego wants to be the doer. And you know how much trouble what that gets me into. The know-it-all wants to be the doer. But the know-it-all is never doing the doing. Life is doing the doing. And the more the humans able to be the being, the easier it is for the doer, the life force in us, to do the doing. That's a lot more exciting. You're welcome, Michael. Always good to see you. And it's been a nice chat this Friday afternoon. It just warms my heart to have these conversations. I wish I could figure out how to do this live. I mean, where I can have an interaction with you. I guess we could, but I tried that once with Zoom and I couldn't quite figure it all out. But I'm getting ready to do a live webinar. Maybe I'll teach myself better how to do that technology. But right now, this will have to work, because this is working. And I appreciate that. So thank you for putting in some comments and interacting with me and engaging with me. It's just fun that way. It's more exciting. So thank you for that. And I hope all of you are having a wonderful day and getting out of your doer's way and letting the doer in you do and the being in you be. And we're human beings. We're individual humans. Human being. I mean, I'm Martin over here. You're over there, Michael. Our hair color, our orientation, what we like, what we dislike, all those are real. That's real for the moment. But we're all plugged into the same being. Everything in life is plugged into the same being. That's how we create. That's how we participate. By letting go, participate. It's fun. It's exciting. So, may love and prosperity continue to prevail. Thank you.